If there's one lie that has been systematically engineered by the political class to keep the Nigerian workers in a state of economic starvation, it is the myth of subnational financial distress. For nearly 20 years, the conversation across the country has been anchored on a single question: can our state governors afford 70,000 national minimum wage baseline? I have watched the Nigerian Governors Forum hold endless emergency meeting, issue long communiques and drag their feet, claiming that implementing this basic wage floor would force their state into sudden bankruptcy. But while they present an image of empty treasuries to organize labor, the official 2026 state budget performance sheet tells a completely different story. It is a story of unprecedented wealth flowing into state coffers, historic surge in unaudited executive cash allocation, and a deliberate political choice to prioritize the luxury overheads of the government house over the survival of the people who build the states. So now, let me be completely fair and put the facts exactly as they are on the table. I don't want you people to come at me that I'm going to lay it there, then you can come to me with it. I cannot paint all 36 states with a single brush. There are states in this country that have actually stepped up to the plate. Government in places like Lagos, Edo, Delta, Rivers, and Imo have fully migrated their workforces to the 70,000 baseline. In fact, because severe inflation has completely eroded the purchasing power of that money, several of these compliant states have adjusted their framework further, pushing entry-level compensation up to between 80,000 and 100,000 to cushion the blow for their workers. But their compliance completely exposes the failure of the defaulters, despite the fact that post-subsidy adjustments have pushed Federal Account Allocation Committee disbursement to historic record, including an absolute peak of 2.3 trillion shared in a single month this year. Approximately 20 state governments are still practicing a dangerous game of fractional implementation, and I call it dangerous game. I see them paying the 70,000 to the core civil servants working inside the state capital ministries, where the labor union can easily shut down offices. But when I look down at the local government councils, when I look at the primary school teachers, when I look at the rural health care workers, I discovered something. I find that thousands of subnational employees are still being paid using old, outdated wage framework or heavily slashed fraction. So I'm going to tell you how some states are doing and do some comparison. To understand how vicious this structural inequality is, consider the fate of a fresh Nigerian graduate entering the civil service as a grade level 8 officer in 2026. The economic value is determined not by their intellect or their degree, but by the geographical lock of which state border they happen to walk behind. If that fresh graduate secures a job within the Lagos State Civil Service or a highly compliant oil producing state like Delta, I see them take home an entry-level package between 85,000 and 95,000 monthly. Even then, what can that amount do for anybody? Allowing them to at least buy a bag of rice and pay transportation. That is all 95,000 can do. But take that exact same graduate with the exact same qualification and put them inside a defaulting local government council in North Central or Northwest Nigeria, because those local administrations are operating on fractional structure or completely ignoring the implementation guidelines for lower tier workers. That fresh graduate is forced to take home as low as 35,000 or 45,000 naira a month. Let that sink in. Think about that distortion. It takes a fresh graduate working for a defaulting local government 2 full months of hard labour to earn what their counterpart in a compliant state makes in 30 days, in 1 month. So he will be earning what his mate is earning in 1 month, in 2 months. Yet when they walk into the open market, they are buying fuel at the exact same national price, paying for electricity under the exact same tariffs, facing the exact same food inflation. The cost of survival is nationalized, but the dignity of labor is balkanized. Do you get that? Now let me address the primary shield that defenders of these defaulting states will throw into my comments, because I'm waiting for you people, but I'm going to address it collectively right now. They will tell me that it's unfair to compare a wealthy commercial hub like Lagos or an oil-rich state like Rivers with states in the hinterland. They will argue that states like Benue, Kaduna, Borno, and Zamfara are facing severe existential insecurity crisis. They will say these governors need massive financial cushion, specifically unaudited security votes, to fund local vigilante, purchase operational vehicles, fuel military trucks, and gather discretionary intelligence to stop banditry and insurgency. I acknowledge that reality. That is a fact. The security crisis in those regions are real, devastating, and deeply tragic. The citizens in those states are buried under fear, and local economies have been completely crippled by agrarian violence. You know that now in Benue, in Plateau, those are the food basket of Nigeria. But acknowledging the crisis is exactly how I expose the hypocrisy of the funding. If these massive security votes are desperately needed to save lives on the front line, then the money should be seen working on the front lines. I'm going to look at least official paper trail for the middle of this year for some states, because I can't handle all of them here. Benue State is arguably one of the hardest hit terrains for displacement and community attack. To address this, Governor Hycinth Alias approved 2026 budget allocated a staggering 41.85 billion purely for security votes and security operation. But I look at the AIC official first quarter 2026 budget performance report released openly by the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning. The document revealed that within the first 3 months of this year, Benue State pulled in a massive total revenue of 127.18 billion. Yet, out of the 41.85 billion earmarked for security services and operation for the year, exactly how much was released and spent on the field between January and March? Hold it, just 111 million naira. Yeah, you heard that? I did the math. That is an executive rate of exactly 0.3%. While local communities were crying out for logistics, arms, and state-backed vigilante coordination, only 0.3% of the security budget left the vault. Where did the rest of the revenue go? In those exact 3 months, the state government effortlessly released over 3.35 billion just to fund the recurrent running costs and executive overhead of the government house and the state house of assembly. I hope you are getting these figures. The administrative comfort of the elite received over 30 times more funding than the active security operation of the entire state. This brings me to the core of why this system persists. What exactly is a security vote? Legally, it is treated as a discretionary, unaudited cash allocation managed directly by the governor's office. Did you hear that? Unlike capital expenditure, it requires zero competitive public bidding. Unlike ministerial allocation, it requires no legislative procurement tracking. Governors across the country have turned this mechanism into a legal black box. In January of this year, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project filed a historic lawsuit number FHC/ABJ/CS/95/2026 at the Federal High Court in Abuja, seeking an order to compel state executive to disclose exactly how these multi-billion naira security votes are being spent. Because right now, the system allows a governor to claim they are too poor to pay a primary school teacher 70,000 a month, while they pocket hundreds of millions of naira in an unedited, unvouched security cash every single week. Borno State has carried a heavy counter-insurgency burden, budgeting billions over the year. High spenders like Anambra, Zamfara, Ondo, Edo routinely lock down massive shares of their public wealth under this exact headline. But as long as these funds remain completely hidden from public audit, they function not as a weapon against insecurity, but as a financial insulation layer for the political elite. If your governor name is mentioned here, go and tag them, because these are verifiable facts. I am Patience Smith. The facts are on the table. The conclusion is yours. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm asking you to think. I'm asking you to ask questions. I'm asking you to go and verify these figures and these numbers. Drop a comment below. If a governor records over 120 billion naira in revenue in 3 months, but only spent 0.3% of their security budget on the field, why are local workers still being denied a 70,000 minimum wage? To my followers in Benue, Zamfara, Kogi, or Katsina, is your local government paying your primary teacher full wages? And do you see these multi-billion security votes working in your community? And many of us can attest to that, can actually say, we can stay. My governor is faithful in this area, we are secured. Tell me your state below. Share this video and tag a governor or a lawmaker who needs to look at this budget performance sheets. Tag them. Tag people from this state. I keep saying it, Nigeria is our only country. Some of us are stuck there. Some of us cannot japa. We have to be here. And that's the reason why we are going to go for accountability. They owe it to us to explain to us how this money is spent. If they are there, the season and the era of being there to fulfill personal desires and to fulfill the need to up your economic status or your power has come and ended. Now we hold them accountable.